Hi everyone, my name is Rasmus and I'm the Chief Technician of the Black Box Copenhagen Festival, and I'm here to teach you today about how to integrate lights and sound in your game design. In this video we're going to talk about different types of lights, how they look in a black box and how you can use them for different things in your game design. When you have a finished idea of what your lab is going to be like and what kind of lights you will need or different rooms or spaces you will need for your lab, you can make a drawing of how it's supposed to look from the above, like the plan of a building or something like that. I have an example over here where I have made two big spaces that need to have different types of light. I have a round space here that says cold, where I want it to be a sort of cold space. I have a bigger space here that needs to change color, and all of this gives me an idea of what I will need for different lights and different setups. I simply show this to my technician when I come to the festival, and the technician helps with what kind of lamps and where they need to be put up. And that's how it can look, but it can have many different forms and shapes. It's all up to you to make a plan that fits best to you and your lab. Now I will show you the 4 different types of lamps that we have available today. This lamp is called a power lamp, and it's an LED type of lamp. That means that the light is a little bit colder than the other types of lamps we have, but you will notice that during this video. This particular lamp looks like this. I'll just open it up, and you can see the light is sort of palish white, and it's a little bit hard compared to other types of lamps. The reason why it's a little bit paler and a little bit harder is because it's an LED lamp. That means that it can change color, it has special effects and stuff built into it, like a computer, but I will show you that in another video. Now I will show you our second type of lamp. It's called a Fresnel lamp, and it has a simple zoom function. That means it can be a very small light or a very big light. It's a little bit paler and not as powerful as the one I showed you before, but I will show you how it looks right now. All right. As you can see, this light is sort of really powerful in the center, and then it sort of ebbs out on the sides. That's a really cool effect to use when you want to have spaces where, for example, you can only lab inside the light, and then the lines get sort of blurry about where you can play and where you can't play, and that can be a super cool tool to use. But as you can see, I can sort of zoom in and out, and it becomes smaller or bigger. And this is one of the most commonly used lamps. We can put different lights on it, so it can have colors and all kinds of stuff. Now I'll show you the next lamp. This is sort of the big brother to the Fresnel lamp. The Fresnel lamp can zoom on one side, it can be smaller or bigger. This one can both be more sharp in the edges and be smaller and bigger at the same time. And it even has a cool third thing that I will show you as well. It's called a profile lamp. This specific model is the one we use the most. It's called the Source 4. It's a very famous lamp. It has 2 zooming functions, and it has these blades that can make the light look different ways. This lamp is super cool because it's one of the few lamps we have that can make these really cool perfect circles, and you use that for anything like tables or stuff. It's very, very cool. Now what this also has are blades. You can use those to sort of shape the light into what you want. A super common example would be to shape it like a square, to use it as a window, or if you want focus on a specific piece of wall or a squared space on the floor or something like that. And then, as I said, it has 2 zoom functions where you can make it bigger, but you can also make it less sharp. So you can make it small and not so sharp, and you can make it really big and really not sharp. Now I'll show you the final type of lamp we will show you. This is called an LED bar. As you can see, it is long, and it makes a horizontal sort of waterfall-ish light. It can make many different types of colors, and it's really cool. So I'll show you how it looks on the wall. This is how it looks, and it can be all kinds of different colors. This is random color blend, but it can be red, green, whatever you want. And it's a really cool effect, and you can sort of see like how it looks in my hand, and yeah. They're really cool to make like fireworks or look like a fireplace or a waterfall or something coming down the wall. Now we will talk a little bit about positioning and focus, which are different ways to think about light and using light in rooms and in spaces. Now, one of the ways we use light is as ambient light. In this sequence or this situation, the light is mostly there for players to look at each other. It doesn't really have a specific color or any kind of emotion connected to it, and there's no funny business going on. It's just plain old light to walk around in. You can see that the light is a little bit more powerful in the center, but you can vary that as a designer if you want. Would you please move around, guys? Now the light is there mostly for the players to watch, so they can see each other. It doesn't really, as you can see as they walk around, there's no really intention or any different focus in this example. But I'll show you some cool stuff with focus right now. In this scene, I've set up the light so that Oliver is not in focus and Jesper is in focus. That means that if Oliver and Jesper were playing the same character, it would feel very different for those people to be in the situation that they're in right now. It's very uncomfortable to be in direct light, like Jesper is right now, and it's a bit more nice for Oliver. In this scene, the table is on the focus. It means that it's in between both of the lamps, and it sort of lights up for you. I'll show you in an example. Oliver, can you put your hands on the table? You can immediately see that this changes how the feeling is in the scene. All of a sudden, Oliver's hands are super important. What he does with them, does he pick something up? Does he not pick something up? That changes how both the scene is felt inside the scene by Jesper and by Oliver, but it also changes how other players view the scene. Now we showed you an example of positioning in light with Jesper and Oliver, and this is an example of how to use darkness. Because in black box games, or in generally when you use light, you can also use darkness as a tool. This cone of light that I'm standing in is usually called like a spot or a circle or something like that. And you can use it to put really strong focus on something very specific. And one of the cool things about using light is that light in itself is a powerful tool, but the opposite, darkness, is also a good tool to use as a designer. Right now it feels really uncomfortable. I can barely see people. I could maybe hold a monologue, or I could be feeling something very intently, or I could be a tree or an object or something placed in the circle to put focus on that specific object. But right now, if I step out of the light, there is still like a really huge focus on the circle. And as a person, as a player, that feels really terrifying. It's sort of being taken out of your comfort zone in a way. And that's a very powerful tool you can use as a LARP designer to create both light and dark. Now we've been through how to make a production drawing, the different type of lamps, and what different design tools you can use light for. In the next video, we will talk about color and how to use special lighting effects. Thank you for watching.